Hey, do. Ladies and gentlemen, CocoSports.com proudly presents Wrestle AM. It's half wrestling show, half morning show, pretty much all BS. And of course, well, you just got me, the sexiest man on all Infinite Wrestling Radio. Boom, boom, here, shaking the room, live from the RVA, Richmond, Virginia. Coming at you solo, and just wanted to get some stuff off my chest, man. There's just a lot of news here. Dave couldn't be here, so I decided, this is actually kind of a big deal, so I'm actually going to speak out on this. If you looked at the title here, I'm going to talk about a couple of things here, but the thing I want to address here is WWE's Crown Jewel, which is going to take place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on November 2nd. That's actually a week from this recording. Well, it looks like, it's actually going to take place in Saudi Arabia. Now, there was a point where it may not, but let me just, let's just stop here and let's go all the way back here. WWE signed a deal with the nation of Saudi Arabia to do a series of shows. Now, there's some speculation about how much, but it is believed. I know SEScoops.com, amongst some other groups, some investors are reporting that WWE signed a 10-year strategic partnership with the Saudi General Sports Authority, where they would receive $45 million every year. So 45 million times 10, there you go. And they did the Greatest Royal Rumble earlier. And it was met with some criticism. The reason why is because of how Saudi Arabia treats women. The women, the female superstars, were not allowed to go over there because they were not allowed to perform. Sami Zayn was not, well, I don't want to say he was not allowed to go over there. They just thought it would be in his best interest not to go because even though he is Canadian, ethnically he is Syrian. And they just didn't think that would be a good thing. So he sat home. And a lot of people started questioning WWE, saying, look, this nation just this year, granted women the right to drive. Right to drive. So how can you, talk about, the women's revolution, women's empowerment, tag your partnerships with Susan G. Komen, breaking ground, breaking new ground with the women's division, and then turn around and go to a country that treats women like second-class citizens. Because, that's just, how the world operates over there. But it was all part of a plan by the nation of Saudi Arabia. So here's okay. I'm not an expert, but just bear along with me. I'm just going to give you guys broad generalizations of what's going on over there. All right. Essentially, the king over there is pretty much, he's not an invalid or anything. He's just pretty much kind of, letting his son, the crown prince, run the whole show. And they're trying to improve the image of Saudi Arabia, throughout the world by doing events like this. There's also some kind of I think it was like this weekend or coming weeks. There's I want to say a technology convention where you're having various types of companies in there, and they're just trying to improve their image. Now, if you look at it, a lot of geopolitics here is Saudi Arabia is, comparatively speaking to other nations in that region, more moderate or a little bit more secular than, surrounding countries, particularly like Iran, Afghanistan, places of that nature. So after all that, going on, now we have a new little issue here is the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. Now, and again, I hope I'm not boring anybody here, but I'm trying to lay out the whole landscape so I can put out my arguments here. Jamal Khashoggi was a journalist. He lived in Saudi Arabia, but he was, the fancy term they put is he self-exiled. Basically, he left the country, and he got a job working as a contributor to the Washington Post, where he wrote various articles very critical of Saudi Arabia, particularly the Saudi royal family. Well, earlier this month, he went to the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey. He was divorced, and I think some kind of paperwork thing is what he was going to get. He was just going to go in there. I think it was either some kind of certificate, either granting him a divorce or approving the divorce or finalizing the divorce. But basically, he was trying to get this divorce finalized so he could, basically be clear and free to remarry. He had a fiance who was waiting for him. He goes in there. He hasn't been seen. He hasn't been seen again. And initially, people, particularly with the Saudis, denied, well, we don't even know if he's dead. We don't know what's going on. Well, eventually they fessed up. They said that, that what has happened was he went in there. He was met by 15 other people. Some people call it an assassination squad. Again, I'm just trying to paint the picture here for you, where the man was, quote unquote, interrogated, tortured, and murdered. The nation of Saudi Arabia is claiming he died in a mishap during a fist fight. Other news agencies such as Reuters and the AP are reporting that he died as a result of it being placed in a chokehold. And he may have even recorded his own murder on his Apple Watch. The Turkish government is saying that they've got audio and surveillance videos of his murder. Saudi Arabia is was maybe trying to paint it like an accident. Like, they confronted this guy. They were trying to get some information out of him, and somebody went a little too far. He died, and it's like, oh shit. But I'm not buying it, and here's why I'm not buying it. This is just my personal opinion. Because they dismembered him. You just don't fucking accidentally kill somebody and go, oh shit, dude, what the fuck do? We got to get rid of the body. And just, we conveniently have all the supplies we need to dismember this guy, to chop him up in little pieces. And in fact, there was a surveillance video released this week that after Khashoggi was killed, somebody put on his clothes and walked around trying to pretending to be him, trying to throw everybody off the track. And by the way, for the record, kids, they still haven't found this guy's body. And this was all done because he was critical of the Saudi royal family. And WWE is part of basically, this, I guess for lack of a better term, public relations campaign to make Saudi Arabia look good to the rest of the world. Now, WWE, before, everything was starting to come out, it said, we'll continue to monitor the situation. In fact, I think they even teased, maybe, trying to just do Crown Jewel, but do it in a different location. Maybe look at New York City, maybe look at over at Manchester in the UK, maybe look around some different sites, but that hasn't materialized. And now it looks like it's going to go on Riyadh as scheduled. And they're facing a lot of criticism. They're even facing criticism internally. There are reports now that John Cena will not be working Crown Jewel. This is from Barstool Sports. He's 100% off the show and will not appear. In fact, they're still waiting on confirmation because Daniel Bryan, who is scheduled for a WWE Championship match against AJ Styles, he's talking about not going. That's all but finalized. And to me, I find this, disgusting that you would willingly be part of a propaganda machine for a nation that had basically a state-sanctioned murder of a journalist, not some terrorist, not some guy was threatening to blow shit up, a guy who's just critical of their government. And say what you want about what politics here in the United States. We've got some people who have said some outrageous shit, and they've been, supportive of, said politicians, critical of said politicians. But at the end of the day, I'm not worried about anybody getting murdered here for writing or broadcasting stuff. And this is just, it's outrageous to me. I make it no secret. I mean, that's what I do for a living. I'm a journalist. I work in media. And the fact that somebody could be murdered for their opinion and then turn around and have a company admit that they murdered this guy. There are 15 people in custody for this. one of which is an advisor to the Crown Prince. I mean, it's just shocking to me that the WWE is going to make all kinds of fucking excuses for this to happen, when you could really make a statement and go, no, we're not going to be a part of this. You know what? We were on board with it. When you were trying to make yourselves look good, you gave women the right to drive. Okay, it's way behind the times, but it's a step in the right direction. All right, you wanted to promote a positive thing. Okay, maybe we can get on board with that. But they just straight up had somebody goddamn murdered. They admit it. They admit he was murdered. And you're still going to go and take their money and go out and try to make them look good? I mean, my God, what are you going to do? You're going to do like fucking shows for goddamn ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and the fucking mob? I mean, this goes beyond a lot of shit. I've been doing this. I've been doing wrestling news, radio, on and off for over a decade now. Since I think, God, 06, 07. About 07 was when I started doing this. I was still an undergraduate doing this for fun. And, we've bitched about a lot of things. We've bitched about, how come this guy's getting over this guy? How come this guy's not being promoted? How come they didn't do this? Well, I think they should have done that. I mean, this goes way beyond that. I mean, this is some fucking heavy real shit. And the fact that they sent JBL out to, defend their talking points. First, they were saying why the WWE should go to, Saudi Arabia. And he said, but, and I'm paraphrasing here. It was on, I think he talked on, Fox. It was on Fox News or Fox Business, I think. And he's saying, well, look at stuff like Russia and China. I mean, Russia, they're talking about the invasion of Crimea. They even had some people. It's believed that Russia had some same thing dissidents over in the UK poisoned, but yet the World Cup didn't boycott Russia. And I'm like, JBL, wait a minute. I find this kind of like this. Well, what about this? To be a completely lazy argument. I mean, we have got no control over the World Cup. We've got absolutely none. And even though it's highly believed that Russia may have had these, I guess, well, I don't want to say spies, but dissidents, whatever you want to call them, poisoned. The Russian government didn't come out and go, well, yeah, that happened, and I'm not saying it justifies anything, but Saudi Arabia straight up said, well, yeah, this guy's dead, that some shit got out of hand. We're taking care of it. And besides, this is not the World Cup. And they talk about, well, if you want to change, you got to do, like we did with Cuba. We got to, all you do is impoverish people, and you got, China, discriminating against the Tibetans and all that. And again, JBL, this is an extremely just bad, lazy argument. Okay, yeah, we got rid of the embargoes on Cuba, and what's changed? What's changed in Cuba? There's still violators of human rights. You can't speak out against the Cuban government. And this, oh, by the way, this is a true story. A friend of mine went overseas. He was like big about travel. And so he managed to go overseas and, go around teaching gigs. And he went through Southeast Asia, eventually made his way to China. And he got kicked out of China. He got straight up thrown out of China. Why? Because he was critical of the Chinese government. And I think the only reason he's not in Chinese prison right now is because he was an American national. I'm dead serious. True fucking story. American, travel around. He was teaching like English comp, something like that. Wound up in China. Said, I really don't really like how the Chinese do business around here. And they kicked him out. And he was lucky. And so I ask you, JBL, how is doing a wrestling show in places where they have clear violations of human rights, how is that changing anything? You're doing PR for them. And you're going to twist and bend over backwards to justify the fucking payday. That's what's fucking disgusting. You no longer, WWE does not have fucking principles. You cannot look me in the eye. You can't go, don't be a bully, be a star. Fuck no. You can't talk women's empowerment. You can't talk, being a progressive, tolerant company when you literally go in there and run PR for a government that admitted they had another human being murdered specifically because they did not like what he printed. It's fucking disgusting. It is fucking disgusting. He tries to talk about how this is, he tries to compare this to when, when Pee Wee Reese put his arms around Jackie Robinson, Jackie Robinson, the man to break the colored barrier in professional baseball. I mean, this isn't like, okay, you know what would break the fucking barrier in Saudi Arabia? Have Sasha Banks wrestle Bayley. Have Alexa Bliss wrestle Nia Jax. That's breaking a fucking barrier out in Saudi Arabia. And, you talk about you want to break this stuff down one step at a time. Well, what's changed since the greatest Royal Rumble? At least in Qatar, when WWE went there, I think it was earlier this year, as a matter of fact, women were allowed to perform. Now, granted, they had to cover the fuck up, but, they were allowed to perform. If you really want to break down barriers, you really want to show change and show improvement, put Sami Zayn on the card, even though he's, ethnically Syrian. Let the fucking women wrestle. Tell them, like, look, we want to have a women's match. Okay, you know what? We'll cover them up. Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss both had, like, full body suits. I mean, yeah, basically everything from the neck down on them's covered. They had these custom, tights that they had to wear. You know what? That would be breaking down a fucking barrier. Not going over there accepting their goddamn blood money to make them look good to the rest of the world. And I understand, it's a tough thing. You're put between a rock and a hard place. You've got a lot of, that sweet Saudi oil money. And, it puts the United States in a big position. You're thinking, well, why doesn't the U.S. just, completely, they completely condemn this, put on embargoes, sanctions, what have you. It's kind of a tightrope here. I mean, I'm going to try to be, I'm not taking any sides on this. I'm just trying to tell you what's going on. Here's kind of what the geopolitics is of this is. Saudi Arabia, like I said earlier, is a moderate country compared to some of the surrounding nations. But they got some criticisms is because they're essentially fighting a proxy war with Iran in Yemen right now. There's a civil war going on up in there. And also right now, Saudi Arabia is kind of an ally in that region. They don't put up with fucking terrorism and that bullshit. They'll cut your goddamn head off. No fucking joking. They will. You're fucking going around blowing up shit or planning to blow up shit. You go bye-bye. They don't put up with that shit over there. So the U.S. kind of likes that relationship there. Also, the Saudis tend to buy, I won't say annually, but I think they've got a deal where they spend $110 billion on U.S. military hardware. We sell them military goods. And if we put an embargo on them or refuse to sell that stuff to them, the concern is that they're going to turn around and take that $110 billion and they're going to give it to the Russians. Or they're going to take that $110 billion and they're going to give it to the Chinese. And I'm just at a loss for words. And now they've been told that talent has had the choice not to go. I don't know. The people who are choosing not to go right now are some people who've got some sway. They got some stability. People like John Cena and Daniel Bryan. But do you think people like Apollo Crews, people like, Grand Metalik, people like that have that they think they've got that ability to stand for, you know what, I really don't want to do this. I don't feel comfortable. I really don't want to be a part of this. I don't really want to provide good, good PR for for a country that admitted to have somebody, that somebody murdered. No, the last person who did something similar to that, I want to say Rob Van Dam back around circa 03. This is back when they were doing tribute to the troops, back when during the Second Iraq War. There was some, I think it was Van Dam was one of the people that didn't want to go with it for whatever reason. I don't necessarily mean it's because they didn't agree with the war. I think some people felt like just genuinely concerned for their safety at that time, because I mean this was when it was still pretty hot out there. They really hadn't gotten things under control over there. So I have to say, but if you want things to change, this is where you have to step up, fans. This is where you have to unsubscribe to the WWE network. No, don't even watch it just for retro stuff. Don't even watch it because you want to watch the Hogan Andre match, or don't watch it because you want to watch Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar. I mean, no, you have to get rid of it. Don't buy any tickets to their shows. I'm going to go and hijack it, chant CM Punk. They don't care. They got your money. You can't buy any of their merchandise. Can't buy any of their video games. And may even have to go one step further. You may have to get with a group of people and call sponsors and be like, you know what? We're going to boycott you. We're not going to buy your products until you talk to WWE about this whole Saudi Arabia thing. That's how you get things done. I make no doubts. I mean, I did it for a different reason. I pulled the plug on WWE last year. And I kind of stepped up and realized, like, why am I doing this? I don't ever watch the network. I really don't want to pay $10 just to watch NXT. I don't want to go to any of their shows. I really don't like the direction this company's going. And that's just from a talent entertainment point of view. I mean, now this completely changes the damn ball game. But that's what you have to do. I just think it's disgusting. And then they send JBL out to run all their talking points, which really are lazy arguments and fall completely flat. World Cup, Olympics, not the same as WWE. You're an entertainment company. This is a world competition. And said countries didn't say, well, yeah, we kind of fucked up and somebody got killed. We're taking care of it though. We're going to punish those people who got involved. They didn't do that. You can't compare this to like Cuba because, yeah, we lifted embargoes, but nothing really changed with them. I mean, the Castros are still running that regime. Well, in the end, they are. And you want to talk about being progressive? You've got no principles, WWE. You sold them out. You sold it out for sweet Saudi oil money, and you tried to twist and turn to justify it. And to me, that's disgusting. If you straight up would have come out and said, look, the money's too good. The money's really too good, and we've got this big contractual obligation. We've got a responsibility to our shareholders. We're going to go through with this. I at least would have had respect for you for being honest. But now I got to ask, shareholders, I mean, are you happy with this? I'm dead serious. If you own stock with WWE, are you fucking happy with this? I'm really dead serious. Stockholders, are you happy with this? I mean, is this how you want to invest your money? Is it a company that'll just do anything for the almighty dollar? All right, let me get to some questions here. I want to say, first of all, thank you to Rick1982, Franielli, everybody else for Wrestling Nuts, everybody joining me live, people watching this now on replay. Crown Jewel should have been done in the UK. I think, it really could have been done fucking anywhere else. I mean, my God, they could have done it in a fucking bingo hall in Biloxi, Mississippi, and it still would have been better. Still would have been better idea. Do you guys hate it when they said wrestling is gay like that pissed me off. I don't know what you guys think about it, but just some people are just douche. Oh yeah, I mean, you just deal with that shit. They're nuts, man. You just, oh, it's gay, man. It's gay. Okay, whatever. You know, if that's the best insult they've got, I mean, they've got an IQ probably about the same as room temperature. So there you go. Crown Jewel, they should call it King of the Ring. I wouldn't mind seeing a King of the Ring revival, by the way. Quite international scandal. Oh yeah, no events. WWE will do an event in North Korea. You know what? At this point, if Kim Jong-un offered him a shit ton of money, I'm pretty sure they would. I think there has been some. I know there was the collision in Korea, but that was South Korea. That was Tetsumi Fujinami and Ric Flair. It's back in the night. Good God, how the fuck do I even remember that? That's going way back. But I think there might have been some. It was either China or North Korea. They did one wrestling show there. I don't know what promotion. I think it was an Asian, maybe a Japanese promotion doing that. But yeah, Vince, for one, I don't think Korea's got that. They don't have Saudi money. They don't have much of fucking anything right now. They're fucking starving to death out there just so, so that fucking family can look fucking good and powerful. Oh, WWE wants the money. I'm curious to see how the commentary sells this event's broadcast. Oh, they'll just, they're fucking little puppets. They're getting fucking paid. They'll put it over as the best goddamn event ever. They'll say, oh, look how progressive these people are. I mean, they're letting families sit out here in the middle. They're not segregating men and women like they normally do. Oh, yeah, that's a fact, by the way. They do in places like that. They segregate the men and the women. At the Greatest Royal Rumble, they did have a deal where intergenders, they could sit down there on the floor, but they had to be part of a family. It had to be like a family. So if it was like a dad, mom, and kids, that was cool. Or if it was like brother and sister, that was cool. But anyway, doing the right thing isn't always the easiest thing to do. You're damn right, Fran Yelly. You're damn right. The finals of the Mae Young Classic, NXT Championship, are 2 matches I'll check out Sunday for WWE Evolution. And I wish those ladies all the best. And I'm kind of glad. This is maybe one of the only good things that's kind of come out of the whole fucking Saudi Arabia debacle is the ladies get their chance to shine. They get their own pay-per-view. It's kind of like a sorry, but it shouldn't have to happen. You shouldn't have to have an incident like this to go, well, how do we make this up to the women? How do we make, I know, let's make our own event. Here's an idea. How about you just treat it like you do the fucking men's division? How about you just have more than one women's storyline that does not involve the WWE Women's Championship or both the SmackDown and Raw Women's Championship? How about you actually have 2 women who fucking can't stand each other and want to beat the crap out of each other? Why can't that? Or maybe you can introduce the tag team championships. Get things moving there, but whatever. Money has always been the root of all evil. Yep. Money. Let's see. Oh, thanks. He's like complimenting on my elite cap here. Collision in Korea was WCW and New Japan and North Korea. Oh, was that North Korea? Are you sure that was North Korea? I could have swore that was South Korea because I just can't picture like the Kim family allowing that to happen. Have you heard about Ospreay being injured? Yes, I have actually. Will Ospreay, I think it was a rib injury or an arm injury. He took that. He had to pull out of his match in the next few days against Taichi. Had to cancel that. Ospreay apologized for it. I actually sent him a tweet saying, it's cool, man. We understand. You got to take care of yourself, man. Just take care of yourself. You do you. Get better. Match. You can always go back there and do that match. WWE Evolution was just a consolation prize for the women. You damn straight. Now they did get paid. To be fair, the women did get paid. Like they went to Crown Jewel, even though they couldn't go to Crown Jewel. They got paid the bonus like they did. So I will at least give WWE credit for that. Booms, if you addressed the Joe Noyes cancer situation, I haven't, and I feel like I need to. And it's on the title here, so I was planning on talking about it, but this is a little bit sooner than what I thought. But I heard about it like the next day. I get to work like super early in the morning. It actually made CNN's wires. I mean, that's how big it was. Roman Reigns comes out, says, everything's been a lie. My real name's Joe. I battled leukemia. Well, it's come back. I'm going to relinquish the championship, and I'm going to go, fight leukemia again, and I hope to be back. And, as much as I did not like the way that Reigns was presented, the way that he was pushed, that was not personal. And I don't want anybody to think when I have a lot of dislike and anger towards things, it's not personal. It's never been personal. It's like, I never liked the way John Cena was pushed back in the mid 2000s, going into through the teens. I never liked the way he was pushed. But I never hated him, the person. I never wished death upon him. I mean, so same thing with Reigns. I did not like the way he was pushed, promoted. I didn't like how he was shoved down everybody's throats, but that was professional, not personal. And I do wish him the best of luck. While I don't have any personal knowledge of leukemia and everything, I do know how cancer affects families. My great grandfather I'm pretty sure it was mesothelioma, because I'm pretty sure he got that shit from being around asbestos as a steel worker. He had a tumor formed right there between his lung and his heart, inoperable. Well, they said if they operated, he never would have made it off the table. And he was, around 80 at the time, in his 80s at the time. And, you do some chemo, and I watched all his hair fall out and just watched him get so frail. This was probably, still will be always the toughest man that I'll ever know. And I watched chemotherapy just wither him down to almost nothing. And I don't, I don't know if leukemia does the same thing, but I would not wish that on my worst enemy. That's just horrible. My grandmother a few years ago had a bout with colon cancer. Doctors had to remove about 2 to 3 feet of her intestines. And they said, we think we may have it, but you may want to do chemotherapy just to make sure that we got it. So she opted to do that. And there would just be some days, it's like, dude, she could not even get around the house. It just takes, that chemotherapy just takes so much out of you. Now, she got lucky in the sense that she did not lose her hair. She managed to keep her hair that whole time. And so when someone says, I've got cancer, I've got to go through treatments to, I got to fight. You are fighting. You are quite literally fighting that cancer. You've got to change your mindset. You've got to change your lifestyle. You've got to mentally prepare yourself for treatments, because they hook that IV in you. It starts shrinking cancer and killing these cancer cells, but it just takes so much energy, so much life out of you. And it's something, if y'all haven't had to deal with it or not, just consider yourself blessed. I guess the hardest part from someone, in the family is there's nothing you can do about it. You can't make them not feel bad. You can't give them more energy. You can't take away the nausea. You can't make them magically regrow their hair. And there's just that feeling of helplessness. That's what I think hurts the most. And Reigns, Joe Annoying, whatever you want to call him, I certainly wish him the best of luck. And I hope he beats cancer. The guy's a husband, the guy's a father. Come on. So I'm definitely, rooting for him, and I hope he's able to live a full, long life. I hope he's able to walk his, daughter down the aisle. Whew. And, I hope, and honestly, yes, I have not liked the way he's been promoted, not the way he's been pushed. I don't like the way he wrestles, but you know what? I hope he makes a comeback. There, I said it. Yes, I hope he makes a comeback. Hope he overcomes it. And I hope maybe in the time he's out, maybe they can revamp the character, change up the character a little bit, and then everybody will cheer him, and then everybody will be happy. So that's, prayers go out to him and his family. Franula says, I do hope Joe beats cancer as well. I dislike his character, but the person himself doesn't deserve this. Amen. Yuri Blake, thank you for joining us, sir. Says, very true. I hated Roman Reigns' character and how he was promoted, but I would never wish death upon him. I had 3 aunts die of cancer, another aunt and a little sister currently in remission. Whew, I know, Yuri, man. It's tough. It is tough. What I would recommend for people out there is, lessen your chance for cancer. I mean, if it's in your family, it runs in mine. If you know that there's a pretty good chance, change your lifestyle up now. Just do little. I mean, you don't have to do drastic things, but just do little bitty things to maybe, lessen your risk. Don't, no brainer. Don't smoke. Don't try to get around chemicals and shit. Try to eat a little bit healthier. I'm not saying you have to eat broccoli and kale every damn day, but just don't eat a cheeseburger every day. And one thing that I do that I like, and at least I like the way that I feel, is get out and exercise. Just try to keep everything on you on the up and up. And is it going to be a magic shield that's going to protect you from cancer? No, nothing can, but at least lower your risk. Just take care of yourself. Let's see here, Blake. Whew, sorry, a little chill in the room. It's getting a little bit colder out here in Virginia, so I got a little chill right there. So I felt bad for him. Hopefully he beats it. He comes back, and by that time, Vince is gone. Vince will never retire. And Jamie Wisner says, prayers for Roman. Wow. All right, guys. I think maybe that's how we need to end. If you got any more questions, go ahead and pop them in. Let me give you just a little bit of an update while we're going right here. I believe Dave and I will be back next week. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but there's a lot of time between now and then, and we'll certainly be able to just give you an update on the site. The hottest topics going on in professional wrestling. And in the meantime, you can always check us out at kocosports.com. That's KOCO sports.com. It's your home for combat sports, where the world goes to kick ass, and most importantly, where it's okay to be a passionate fan. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, because we're a little inconsistent. So having that notification bell lets you know when we're going to pop up. You can ask your questions, and as you can tell, Dave and I we'll pretty much address anything and everything that you put in the chat. And if you're just now catching this on replay, if you want to ask any questions, you want us to do a special video for you, just put you a topic down there in the comment section. We tend to check back on them, and if you want, we got some time, maybe we can do a video specifically for you. So anyway, thank you everyone for joining us. It means a lot to us, and we'll see you next time. So until next time, kids, the boom just went bang, and I am done.